Happy New Year's Eve. It's December 31st, 2025, the end of the year of the snake, the year of shedding and purging, discovering what was venomous in our lives, and learning how to administer the antidote. For me, this has been a lot of saying goodbye, a lot of learning how to say no, a lot of learning how to stand in my values with courage when everybody else around me was telling me I was wrong or undermining my efforts. It was a year of every time I thought things were improving or going in a better direction, finding out that there was betrayal and deception. And most of it was because I was not listening to my own inner guidance. I was ignoring red flags. I was prioritizing the connection over my own expression of my values, right? Which is self-betrayal. My dogs are making noises and they're being distracting, so I keep giving them eyeballs because I told them to lay down, and now they're all staring at me. So I have an audience that I keep looking at over there, but it's been a lot of letting go of things that I had shaped my identity around, and a lot of discovering that I was setting my identity around the wrong things, right? I had my priorities in the wrong areas, like I was getting to before I got distracted. I had my identity wrapped up in the connections instead of in the values that should have been growing within those connections. So prioritizing the person instead of whether the person represented honesty in my life. Prioritizing the person instead of whether they represented consistency, safety, trust, loyalty, the things that I value. It really was a year that asked me to go inward and find out whether I even had good definitions of my values, if I knew how to express them and be in them, and I didn't. I was basing them off of messages that I had heard, and most of those messages I developed as a child from my own understanding through lack of guidance and sheer observation, right? So my pattern recognition was really, really sharp, but a child trying to figure things out without the adult context is ill-equipped, And so now I was at a stage in my life, like many of us have been this year, where I could finally face those things, where I was equipped with the amount of experience, and a lot of that was hard knocks experience. But I was finally equipped with enough experience and enough facing, my own personal definition of hell and death, because I did literally have a near-death experience, more than one. Facing these things within myself and really trying to evaluate where my alignment was, and then beginning to choose. And this is a practice, not a profession. So you take the small steps that you are able to at the time, and you go from there. And what I learned most from 2025 was the patterns that I had. And the reason I had to let go of so many relationships was because that pattern was so rooted in my youth that it became the pattern that I built all of my other relationships off of. So every relationship that I had formed had some varying shades of this distorted truth that I had. These truths that we all carry on whether we are valued by those around us or not, whether we are loved, whether we belong, whether we can trust the people around us. And so this year has been really kind of stripping the noise away, the people and distractions whose stories I was trying to live in. I wasn't trying to live my own story. I was trying to live within another's. And my expression in my values can't find its home in another person's story because it was written for me and my vessel and my mind and my soul, right? Those three elements of me that are coexisting in this form: body, mind, and spirit. Finding the ways that those were out of alignment required standing in whether what I had or what I wanted was more important. Whether I was going to consign myself to continue living the way I was, or did I have enough courage within me to rise above and stand in my truth? And my truth is my value system. It doesn't matter about how I feel about anybody. It is about how my values express themselves in my behavior, my thoughts, words, and actions. Nobody else matters in that lens. When I behave in my values, I detract the people who do not share those values, because if you are a rigorously honest and rigorously accountable person, you're going to hold other people to the same level that you are. Because if I have that demand upon myself to be honest and accountable, other people are going to stand in that or they're not. And it's going to make other people uncomfortable. They'll gravitate away, because if they are dishonest and lack accountability, you are going to act like a torchlight in their life, just lighting aflame all of their inequities, right? So they leave. And that was hard because I had shaped my identity around their story in my life. I am important because I belong to this family. It's not me that's important in that statement. It's the family that's important. It's not me that's important in I have value because this person is in my life. That's not intrinsic, that's extrinsic. And when you place your value on extrinsic things, well, this is an impermanent world. That's the whole point of this 3D reality, is to deal with life and death, contrast. Because again, Source is all-knowing, omnipotent, all things. So without polarity, without having divided into multifaceted, right? It starts with 1, goes to 2. Basic biology shows you cell division, but it's multifaceted as a result of fracturing in order to offer choice, so that we could learn discernment as to whether, and some people, that's choice. We're allowed to choose. Some people are here to represent the lesser qualities in life, because that is where creation comes from. We see it all the time, right? They're in every political debate that we have. Because unless someone gets hurt, people don't change. And the reason that we've gotten this far in society and things are such a mess is because we were really, really busy trying to fix everybody else's hurt and ignoring our own, and therefore perpetuating the harm, right? Because if everybody is focused on fixing everybody else, there's no one really fixing them. All you've got is other people coming at you trying to change you, and everything in you, because of your natural soul alignment with your values, is going to resist anything in opposition. But they're trying to fix you to make you what they want based on their experience and perception and their best knowledge. It's not inherently malicious. Though I'm not excluding that those individuals do exist out there. In general, everybody is out there attempting to do the best that they can for the people around them. Everybody is attempting to love everybody around them. They're just doing it from a place of lack within themselves a lack of experience with what their values and expression and purity look like, feel like. Because they were raised by da 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 da, and the pattern goes back, right? That's the ancestral part of it. We're overcoming the previous generation's limited perspectives. We are overcoming our own, and that's what all of this year has been about, right? And now we're standing at a point on New Year's Eve where we are very aware of our own inner workings, because we have had to stand courageously in our truths and choose actively, consciously, consistently against the patterns we had that we were choosing prior, unknowingly, sleepily, carelessly, often quite consciously and very deliberately ignoring because we prioritized dependency. Rambling and kind of wandering. I have so many thoughts running through my head on this topic that even just trying to stay in one line is difficult for me right now. But what I really want to get to in the heart of all of this is that this has been an earn it year. You have earned your position with yourself. You have earned, through your work and effort, the ability to be proud of yourself, to live in your courage because you've worked for it, right? Love doesn't need to be earned, but access does, right? And you've earned access to the good things that you want because you were willing to face your shadows, own them, know that when things get hard and get desperate, you make decisions that aren't lined up with your values, and that makes you human and like everybody else. And that because you made that choice and went down that path that didn't end up where you wanted it to, you learned where to place your feet the next time that path emerges again. It's not out to get us. You can't learn discernment any other way. And all of this is about creation. It is about taking what exists and making it better. But if we can't fix ourselves, and if we continue to carry the patterns forward that we've been living in, knowing that we're carrying them forward, we're going to keep repeating the same cycles. And so many of us are sick of looking at the world around us and seeing all of the toxicity. You can't fix anybody else unless they want to be fixed. That isn't talking about anybody else. It's talking about you. It's talking about me. So I'm sitting here on New Year's Eve, feeling quite proud of myself for how I have courageously stood with my values in alignment with what I believed my values to be. And to the best of my ability, did it unflinchingly. I might have been crying along the way. I might have got upset, but I didn't allow myself to live there. I didn't allow myself to go backwards. I made the choice, and I said, I am making this choice with full awareness of where I want it to take me, believing and knowing that this guidance will take me where I want to go. So I'm sitting here reflecting on that and being proud of that effort in me, because I didn't go to war with anybody else. I went to war with my own mind. And that is the most difficult war I think anybody goes through. And that is what 2025 has been. We've had to look at our own thoughts, our own feelings, the way we carry ourselves in the world, and what the mirror that the people around us serve is showing us about what our choices have been. Because that's all anybody else is here for, shows you. Your relationships show you how you have been choosing, what values you have been prioritizing. So if you don't like the people around you, if you don't respect the people around you and their values, if they aren't living the life you want to live, like, if I can't respect a person, why am I trying to have that relationship? That was what this year was. And learning to be okay and comfortable with losing respect for somebody else and realizing that that doesn't mean I lost anything of me and that they didn't lose anything of them. I don't have to define them, and I don't care to anymore. I don't care anymore what other people do. They are writing their own story. I only care about my story and whether my story has meaning to me. And if I do well enough at writing a story that I love, and I continue to improve my writing skills, continue to work on my editing process before I publish, if I continue to work on this, it can only get better because my life has shown me that so far. We can't help but learn and grow. That our brain's designed to do that. It's just been doing it without good guidance so far. I don't even mean to say that. Like, as soon as I said that, I was like, that's wrong, because I'm still here. I lived through all of that hell. So there was good guidance in there. I just couldn't learn discernment any other way. Without hardship, loss, and risk, I would never have learned how to keep myself safe, take care of myself, survive in a world where there are bigger things than a president, though he's pretty big, to worry about. Hurricanes, tornadoes, fires. The people immediately in your presence. Anyway, tomorrow is the new year. It's the fire horse year. It's the year of action and momentum and moving forward and out of stagnation. But that means you have to move. You have to make those moves and hold that momentum. So today's the end of those energies. Your mind has been trained to view today as an ending and tomorrow as a birth. And how you set your resolutions up today will determine your success or not. And you know yourself now. So don't set those resolutions that you know you won't keep. Don't set yourself up for failure. We're setting ourselves up for success this year. So focus on how you want to feel. Set your resolutions to be more embodied in your values and define your values, because those will serve you. But don't write out what it's going to look like. Don't set yourself up for failure. Plan a future that your future self can work with. So find the small ways today to say goodbye to these old energies. Honor it. I'm going to hold a funeral for myself today, because symbolically my brain takes that as a big emotional acknowledgement. It takes it as reverent. It acknowledges the pain and the grief that I carried through this year and will for the rest of my life. I can't unexperience things. I just rewrite how I talk to myself about it when I bring it back up or when something reminds me of it. I always get to choose how I talk to myself about my own experience. And my mind doesn't know that other people exist. So everything it hears, it thinks it's talking about it. That's what the ego is. That's why it's so me-centered, is because the brain exists in the dark. It doesn't know that other people are not you. It doesn't know that the things you say are talking about other people. Your subconscious programs it in as yourself. So I am going to hold a funeral for all of those tapes and those stories that I told myself that were not true about myself or my values or what I believe or what kind of life I think I am worth. I'm going to hold a funeral for all of that, for that version of me that I will not carry forward. And tomorrow, I'm going to step fully into my skin, because I can't help but be in my own skin every day. But I'm going to step fully into it, loving myself for where I'm at today, because I do have a great deal of respect for myself. I know how big my heart is. I know how much I mean it when I tell anybody that I love them. If I tell somebody that I love you, eye contact, that whole 9 yard from me in my heart, that is 150,000%. Like, it is. I've done enough shadow work to know that I will do dark things for things that I love in order to protect them and keep them safe, including to myself. So I know that part of myself. So I mean it when I tell people I love them. And I have to start applying that forward. So I'm going to honor that part of me that loved that deeply. I'm going to honor the pain that it carried when that love wasn't returned. And I'm going to understand and overstand, innerstand, outerstand, all of those. I'm going to stand in the fact that the amount of pain that my heart has the capacity for is the reflection of how much light it also has. And instead of focusing my attention on proof of how much darkness my heart can hold and withstand, because I know that. I don't need that proved anymore, so I'm not going to look for it anymore. And things that seem bent on proving that to me, I get to walk away from. So I'm going to start looking for the ways that my heart is fully expressing itself in the expanded version of joy. And I've started doing that already. That's why I'm having such a wonderful time visiting my dad, and I'm in no hurry to move on. Why would I want to hurry out of a space that is filling me with love in a time where I might otherwise be lonely and hurting? Right? That's another choice I got to make. I value and prioritize this, so I get to choose the relationships I'm going to allow to have access to me because I know I'm valuable. And it's reciprocal. It goes back and forth. And so I'm already in the future energies. I'm not making resolutions to become somebody down the road. I know who I am right now, and I really, really love this version of me. All of my foibles and mistakes and ways that I might not measure up to somebody else's expectations, well, those are mine. They're mine. I like my quirky little story. It's fun in my universe. And I am completely comfortable with being it in my own because it's full up here. I don't need anybody else to keep that entertained. It's full in here. I don't need anybody else to keep that entertained. And I get to pour it all out whenever that door opens. So I'm excited for this next year. I'm excited for the opportunities that are coming. And we're all sitting in this energy. All of us are. We are all, this isn't unique to me. We're all sitting in the same energetic influences, asking the same questions, burying it in nuance so that so our ego self, who really likes to be important, can feel like its story is the only story. And it's so busy focused out there, it doesn't realize it is living its own story, its own great epic. A blind little silly creature that ego is. It's a lot of fun to play with when you learn how to play. But anyway, tonight I'm going to go with my dad and his friends to an Eagles cover band concert. I haven't been out to a concert in so many years. I don't know, for a long time it was really, really hard for me to access the public. I was so swamped in my own fears of everybody. And then over the last couple of years, it's been increasingly hard for me to access the world because I had to relearn how to be in the world, not of the world. And there's just a lot of things I'm not interested anymore that are still a big obsession with others. So I'm a little more selective with my crowds. But tonight, because I'm already living in the energy of next year, I'm going to be out at a concert having a great time on New Year's Eve, which I've also never done. I've never been out on New Year's Eve. With people who make me feel welcome, at least one person who makes me feel genuinely, authentically just loved. Doesn't ask me to be something I'm not, and I don't ask him to be anything he's not, and we just exist and enjoy each other. And I think that's going to be the right energy to set and send into this next year. And I very firmly believe that the energies that I want to have dominant tomorrow are based on what I cultivate in my energy right now. And I am choosing to live in love with myself, in love with this moment, in love with my dog licking herself while I'm trying to film, in love with all of it, in love with those hard moments for the strength that they are going to give me, for the opportunity to learn a new way, to commune and receive guidance from Source, from God, from my own internal compass. The more opportunities I have to seek, learn, and get that guidance, the happier that I ultimately am. Because then the next time an obstacle or a limitation or a barrier comes up, I have a lot less fear because I have the experience. So even hard experience, it's valuable. The hard doesn't mean impossible. It just means your heart has that much capacity. So anyway, I'm thoroughly rambling because I am completely distracted by my dog and trying really hard to ignore. I'm going to let that land there. I really want to express how proud I am of you, because you've done this too. I am not alone. I am in a collective of people going through the same things, who have had the same ordeals, who maybe almost didn't make it out of this year. I had one friend who didn't survive this last year. And to be honest, there were a couple of times I really heavily thought about it myself, but I pushed. And now I don't. It's a whole different world to me now. And I am really, really glad that I went through all of it because of who I learned I am. So I'm proud of you for getting there too. Ride the water by preparing for the river you're going to be on. And allow your heart to just flow. Right? You are the creator because you choose your values and you choose the story you tell yourself. And the story you tell yourself is how you speak to everybody, everything, your world. You are in constant communion with Source. So if you don't like the conversation, change the way you're speaking. You are love. You are divine. Source is with you. And this next year was made just for you. Anyway, I hope that you really, really have a good time this year, this New Year's Eve. Stay safe and be the light. Shine. You can't help it anyway.